What's the best advice you heard that helped you later in life? My uncle gave me advice at a backyard barbecue that everyone thought was insane. I followed it anyway. Now I own 26 classic muscle cars and a warehouse while my friends are watching theirs get repossessed. I was 22 years old with my first real paycheck and a loan approval burning a hole in my pocket. Every guy I knew was pulling up in German cars, making monthly payments they could barely breathe through, just to look successful. I was about to do the exact same thing. Then my uncle pulled me aside. He wasn't the type to lecture, quiet guy, but he always had something interesting sitting in his garage under a tarp, so when he waved me over, I followed. He pointed at this beat-up old muscle car and said that pile of rust cost him $2,000 in 1995. He sold it the month before for $140,000. Then he looked at me and told me my fancy new car would be worth half what I paid the second I drove it off the lot. But the old ones, if you know what you're doing, only go up. I thought about that conversation for weeks. I canceled the loan, called the dealership, and walked away from the whole thing. Then I went hunting. Within 2 months, I had 3 rusted-out classics from the late 60s sitting in my parents' driveway. A Camaro that wouldn't start, a Corvette with a blown engine, a Chevelle that looked like it had been slowly decomposing in a field since the Nixon administration. My parents were mortified. The neighbors complained. My friends thought I had completely lost my mind. Every time we hung out, they'd show off their leather seats and touchscreens and take turns roasting me. One said he'd never get any girls pulling up in rust buckets like mine. Another said the only feature my cars had was breaking down. They'd brag about heated seats and backup cameras while I was going home to a garage full of metal that didn't run. I'll be honest, pulling up next to their BMWs, there were moments I wondered if my uncle was wrong. Then I'd remember that $140,000 sale and get back to work. 4 years, nights and weekends in my uncle's garage, learning everything. Welding, engine work, paint. I started going to auctions just to understand what collectors actually wanted and what things were really worth. My social life essentially disappeared. They all assumed I was too broke to keep up. But while they were posting pictures of their interiors and complaining about $1,400 monthly payments, I was paying attention to something else entirely. The cars I bought weren't random. The Camaro had a rare big block option. The Corvette had the split rear window. The Chevelle still had its original factory paperwork, the kind most people had lost decades ago or were actively trying to fake. Then the market exploded. Collectors started coming out of nowhere looking for the exact cars they remembered from their childhoods. Auction prices went completely sideways. Classic car investment funds started hoovering up anything in decent condition. The cars I bought for scrap prices were suddenly selling for 6 figures at auction houses with velvet ropes. I sold that first Camaro to a private collector for 30 times what I paid for it. I took that money and bought more, a dozen this time. 2 years after that, I sold 3 of them for enough to purchase a small warehouse and turned the whole thing into a proper restoration business. Today, I own 26 classic muscle cars with 12 more in various stages of restoration. Collectors are calling me offering 10 times what my friends paid for their BMWs. Those same friends are a different story. 2 of them had their cars repossessed after getting laid off. The rest are still locked into loans they can't escape, paying monthly for the privilege of something that was losing value from day one. Turns out my uncle was right about everything. There will always be a newer, faster, shinier car. But there will never be another 1969 Corvette with a split rear window and its original papers. And I own one.